انتوا بتسمعونا على STR The Sandy Times Radio. ثقافة، ميوزك وأكثر.
Welcome back to Watch the Icon, the podcast where legendary timepieces aren't just discussed, they're decoded. I'm Sofia Brontvein, publisher of the Sandy Times, and in this final episode of our first season, we slow things down. We have raced with the Monaco, we have flipped with the Reverso, we have danced with the Tang. But today, we arrive at something quieter. A watch that doesn't seduce you at first glance, it waits. A circle of perfect proportions, born not from excess, but from restraint. This is the story of the Patek Philippe Calatrava, the soul of Geneva watchmaking. A design so pure it seems inevitable, so elegant it redefines the dress watch, so understated it's easy to overlook until you realize it's the horological equivalent of a sonnet. And in that simplicity lies a secret. Let's wind the crown and begin. It's 1932. The Great Depression has taken hold. Global markets are collapsing. Fine watches, once the toys of the elite, now gather dust in shop windows. In Geneva, Patek Philippe, one of the most storied maisons in the world, finds itself in deep trouble. The company, founded in 1839 by Polish nobleman Antoine Norbert de Patek and French horologist Jean-Adrien Philippe, was known for astonishing complications, perpetual calendars, minute repeaters, split-second chronographs, technically brilliant, artistically finished. But now, impossibly expensive. The Stern brothers, Charles and Jean, owners of a dial-making firm that had long supplied Patek, step in. They purchase the company, rescuing it from insolvency. Their first major move? Introduce a new kind of watch. Not one defined by bells and whistles, but by balance. Not one for dukes and dignitaries, but for the modern, educated man. A watch that whispered confidence, not opulence. They called it the Calatrava, after the medieval knightly order whose cross Patek had adopted as its emblem. And with reference 9.6, the legend began. At 31 mm in diameter, the first Calatrava was modest even by 1930s standards, but that was the point. It didn't chase trends, it set them. Its inspiration? The Bauhaus movement, born in Germany, spreading across Europe, and built on one revolutionary idea: form follows function. That meant no Roman numerals, no engraving, no flowery typefaces, just balance, precision, geometry. Inside beats the caliber 12120, a slim manual wind movement with Geneva stripes and beveling visible only to the watchmaker's eye. On the dial, a minimalist symphony, small seconds at 6, sticker dagger hands, applied markers, slim bezel, polished locks. It was the purest expression of what a dress watch could be, and for many still is. But the Calatrava wasn't a one-hit wonder. It was a platform. And over the next 9 decades, it would evolve, never loudly, always carefully. In the 1940s and 50s, the Calatrava gained subtle sophistication. Sizes crept up, lux lengthened, gold became the dominant metal, references like the 570 and 565 added date windows and screw-down backs for durability. The reference 2526, released in 1953, was a turning point, the first self-winding Calatrava, often fitted with porcelain enamel dials and applied gold indices. Today, it's one of the most collectible Patek watches ever made. In this decade, the Calatrava was everywhere, just discreetly so, on the wrists of professors, lawyers, quiet aristocrats. It didn't grab headlines. It appeared in family portraits, retirement gifts, and heirloom boxes. And yet, in retrospect, it defined an era, not for everyone, and that's the point. The Calatrava is an anti-hype watch, the antithesis of algorithm-driven collecting, but for those who do choose it, the statement is powerful. To understand the Calatrava is to understand the inner world of Patek Philippe, a maison where every decision, down to the millimeter, is debated, refined and justified over decades. Since acquiring the company in 1932, the Stern family has treated Patek Philippe not as a brand, but as a legacy to be preserved, and the Calatrava is its moral compass. You won't find celebrity endorsements, no high-budget campaigns splashed across airports. Patek Philippe doesn't sell watches. They sell time, your children's time, your family's name etched invisibly into the future. And the Calatrava sits at the heart of that promise. It's the watch many Patek owners buy first, not to show off, but to align with something larger than themselves. And for others, it's the last watch, the one they graduate into after years of collecting, when everything noisy has been worn and sold. At the Geneva salon, it's not uncommon to hear a client say, "I don't want a complication, I just want a Calatrava." That phrase carries more weight than it sounds. It means, I want proportion, I want humility, I want perfection, not as a spectacle, but as discipline. Brad Pitt wears one. Paul Newman, famed for the Rolex Daytona, was also known to wear a gold Calatrava off-camera, often with a leather strap. Eric Clapton, whose collection includes everything from Daytonas to vintage grand complications, has been spotted with a 5196P, platinum case, brigade numerals and zero flash. Michael Fassbender wore a reference 5227 on the red carpet. Roger Federer, ever the minimalist, owns at least one. The Calatrava has also graced the wrists of King Juan Carlos of Spain, Jean-Michel Basquiat, a surprise perhaps, and even, according to law, Audrey Hepburn, who admired the simplicity of the smaller vintage references. But here is the thing, you rarely see them flaunt in, because the Calatrava isn't worn for others, it's worn despite them. In the world of auctions, Calatravas don't often break headlines, but when they do, it's usually for the rarest, greatest examples. In 2021, a reference 570 in steel with a black dial and brigade numerals sold at Philips for over $600,000. In 2018, a yellow gold reference 2526 with an original Tiffany signed dial and enamel finish fetched nearly $700,000 at Christie's. And back in 2011, an early reference 96, once owned by Archduke Joseph of Austria, still in its original case, went for 78,000 Swiss francs, more than triple its estimate. But the true power of the Calatrava lies not in its hammer price, but in its lineage. Many are never sold. They are inherited, gifted, rediscovered in drawers decades later, ticking perfectly, softly glowing with patina and carrying generations of stories. Calatravas aren't flashy, but they are fanatical beneath the surface. Cases are often mirror polished by hand. Movements carry the Patek Philippe seal, requiring precise tolerances, +2–3 seconds per day, and hand finishing of every breech and screw. The Geneva stripes aren't stamped. They are applied with spinning pads and years of experience. Anglaise, perlage, black polish screws, all invisible once the case is closed. Even the typeface on the dial, the signature serif of Patek Philippe Geneva, is hand-printed, using age-old techniques that can take weeks to perfect. All this for a two-hand, time-only watch? Yes. Because the Calatrava isn't about showing what you can do. It's about showing what you won't do. No tourbillon unless it's hidden. No date unless it's cleanly integrated. No exhibitionism. Only execution. Let's talk about the stories behind the lugs. One collector, a Tokyo-based graphic designer, inherited his father's reference 9/6. For years, he assumed it was a Seiko, worn daily, polished with tissues, bumped into subway poles. Only after a watch blogger friend noticed it at dinner did he discover it was a first series Calatrava from 1934. A price today? Over $50,000. He still wears it, still wipes it with tissues. Another tale comes from New York. A retired advertising executive swears his reference 3919 has never stopped ticking, even when unworn for months. It knows I am watching, he laughs. It behaves when it senses shame. And then there is the urban legend of the Ghost Isle. A reference 5227 was found in a Paris estate sale with a hidden family crest, visible only under black light. Patek confirmed it had been custom-made, likely for an exiled Russian noble in the 1940s, for whom no one knows. These stories are not certified, but they live on, because the Calatrava invites mystery. It holds time and keeps secrets. In horological circles, the Calatrava is known as the watchmaker's watch, the kind of piece that the other artisans admire. When Philippe Dufault, widely regarded as the greatest living independent watchmaker, was asked what factory-made watch he admired most, he answered, "An old Patek Calatrava. Manual wind. The real thing." Oh yes, the real thing. Because no one else makes watches quite like Patek. And even within Patek, nothing is like the Calatrava. It's not limited, it's not exotic, but it's sacred. Collectors often refer to their Calatrava not by reference, but simply as my Patek, as if all others are variations, and this is the original. So why the Calatrava still matters? In a world of integrated bracelets, ceramic bezels, TikTok flexes, Calatrava endures because it answers a deeper question. What does enough look like? It's not about being vintage or modern, it's not about complications or scarcity, it's about proportion, intention and honesty. A Calatrava is not the loudest watch in the room. It's the last one still ticking after the party ends. Today, Patek Philippe continues to evolve the Calatrava line. The reference 6119 introduced a stunning guilloché Clou de Paris bezel and a new manual wind caliber. The reference 5226G, launched in 2022, added a textured grey dial and a case band with decorative fluting, still restrained but refreshingly modern. Even complicated versions, like the Calatrava Pilot Travel Time, bend the rules while honoring the silhouette. And always the essence remains: a circle, a line, a heartbeat. That's it for Season 1 of Watch the Icon. Over the last 10 episodes, we have traveled from racetracks to royal courts, from quartz crises to quiet revolutions, from Gerald Genta to Louis Cartier and the Valet de Joux. We've seen how design, engineering, storytelling fuse into something far greater than a timekeeping instrument. We've seen what it means to call a watch an icon. But the journey doesn't end here. Later this year, we will return with Season 2, and this time we fast forward into the wild, wonderful world of modern watchmaking. From Richard Mille's skeletonized machines, to Hublot's fusion of materials, to Urwerk's space-age satellites, we will explore the brands rewriting the rulebook, and the watches that look more like sculptures, engines or alien technology than anything ticking in 1932. This isn't about the past, it's about what's next. Because icons aren't just born in history, they are still being made, right now. Until then, subscribe, share, and thank you for spending this season with us. Whether you wear a vintage chronograph, a minimalist marvel, or just admire from afar, we are always watching. And remember, a great watch doesn't just measure time. It tells a story.